So here with a speech entitled My Mother's Handbag, please welcome Gillian Hastings.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and very, very welcome guests. It was the evening of the 22nd of September, and I happened to be walking down Regent Street. And as I looked to my right, I saw this endless queue of people. Some were intense. Some were seated on chairs, some were even lying down on the footpath, with teas and coffees, etc. And I thought, my goodness, vagrants have really increased in this city. And I kept walking, and this queue turned into these massive crowds of people, all facing one building. And I thought, maybe I need to get out of this area because something's happening here. Till I looked up and I saw it was the Apple building. And then I realized that these people were actually queuing for the iPhone 6, which was to be released the next morning. What I really was taken aback with, that most of these people in the queue already had iPhones in their hands. And I thought to myself, I bet not one of these people realize that just tonight, just on this one night, in another part of our world, more than 10,000 people will sleep just like you and I do. But they will never wake up again. Why? Not because of an illness or a disease or because they're in a war zone, but because of hunger alone. They will not wake up. And I bet none of these people will know. Ladies and gentlemen, this was not the case for my mother. She was always caring and happy, and just a fantastic person if ever you met one. And this is one of the reasons why I'd like to share the contents of her handbag with you. If you notice, it's not a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton or a Prada. And in it, I'd like to share her spectacles that actually is one side a piece of thread and one lens. And when I used to ask her, Mom, why don't you change these specs? You know, you help everyone, why don't you change your own? She said, the lens that works is for the eye that is weak. I don't need the lens for the eye that is strong. There are many people who can't even see, so I'm quite lucky, thank you very much. And then, this is her compact that I still keep. And that is a lipstick, which you can see I can't even turn anymore. And that's her compact. And I used to say, Mom, surely you can get a compact for hardly anything these days. Come on. She used to say, well, let it finish. It hasn't finished. And you can see they're just little bits of powder left. But she was that kind of a person. And then her little change box, with all her little change in it. And also, a letter, which she carried everywhere. And I used to wonder, she used to work for this association called the Anglo-Indian Association and collect the subscription fees for people who wanted to be members. And by paying those fees, they used to get help with medicals, school fees, food, all kinds of things. And she used to write letters for the people who couldn't afford to pay, so that she could try and convince the committee not to throw them off or let them go, but to keep them on so that they could get the help. And she used to write these letters for people all the time. This is what I found in her handbag, and it says, "This is Margaret Haslam, a walking dictionary. She can talk her way through heaven and hell." Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I often see many women and men buying paints, like for example, ladies buying paint, mascaras for example, different kinds of mascaras that turn their eyelashes in different directions. And I see men buying so many different gadgets. But do we really need all of them? Why do we buy stuff? I've done a little bit of research. And I like to ask you, do we buy stuff because it makes us happy? Do we buy more stuff because it fulfills a need or a lack in some way? Or do we buy stuff because secretly we just need to keep up with our friends and relatives? I want to share and ask you to think about a few lines of a poem, and it goes like this. And so we go on searching in places of pleasure, seeking recognition and monetary treasure, unaware that happiness is just a state of mind within the reach of anyone who just takes time to be kind. I do believe that, like my mother, who was a very happy person, there is a lot to be gained in caring and thinking about the next person. I hope you do too, or at least until the release of the iPhone 7. Thank you very much.